Konnichiwa, konnichiwa, and yabaseo. Well, here from the OMSR, doing a voiceover for the TPTC subsidiary of the OMSR. Get all dressed up, the spirit of Prince, think you would approve. Purple Rain, see the clip order coming, what's coming up, dressing up for Mika's birthday. Alright, F&A, FBI, what is taking so long? The funniest thing President Obama has ever said. Some insider tidbits from a delegate from Missouri. That's going to be interesting. Cruz is going down in flames. Historical moment. Seem to catch these when they happen. That's why I put the time and effort into this. First cruise ship to Havana in like, how long? And as already stated, happy birthday, Mika. Did my best to put in some lyrics. And talking about masks, funny bit, halfway through, you will enjoy. The likeness is stunning. Alright, thank you, former Governor Huntsman, giving Utah a good name as opposed to what Mitt Romney did. Alright, so I spared you the over the weekend. Senator Cruz on Meet the Press, talking in that quadra-speak and triplicate squared, that he professed to go to Washington, try to change the Washington establishment. It's a simple yes or no question. Spared you that because I, like Mika, when I hear the guy speak, I'm a little bit concerned, and I rolled my eyes so many times that the next time I hear him speak, they're going to get stuck that way. You follow what I'm saying? All right, T-Rada. Thanks for watching. Kamsahamnida. Roll it.
Former Utah governor and President Obama's ambassador to China, Jon Huntsman, told Politico, quote, "We've had enough intra-party fighting. Now's the time to stitch together a winning coalition. And it's been clear almost from the beginning that Trump has the ability, listen to this, because this is it, to assemble a non-traditional bloc of supporters. The ability to cut across traditional party boundaries like 1980, 92, and 2008 will be key. And Trump is much better positioned to achieve that."
That's good for Trump.
It's also true. It's also true. Yeah. And it's time that people kind of see that. I mean, has Ted Cruz been able to do that? Has anyone been able to really do that? No. And on Friday, Senator Marco Rubio said that Trump's performance has, quote, improved significantly in recent weeks after... Thank you, Marco Rubio. Okay. After earlier comments that he would unite behind him if nominated.
Senator, if indeed it is Donald Trump, will you support him?
Yeah, I've always said I'm going to support the Republican nominee, and that's especially true now that it is apparent that Hillary Clinton is going to be the Democratic candidate.
That's what Ted Cruz should have said. That's a big turn. No, it is what Ted Cruz should have said on Sunday. And by the way, that's a big turn for Marco Rubio.
Well, it's the only intellectually honest answer, too, because it's fine to say, no, I can't get there, I'm going to vote for Hillary. I mean, that's curtain number 2.
Yeah.
But there is no more curtain number 3. No.
There aren't.
I mean, those are the two choices. Yes, I'm going to get there on Trump, or no, I can't. And I mean, Mike Hayden, I think, said on this show, like, you know, and Charles Koch, I mean, there is another choice. But then, you know, sort of man up or woman up and say it. You know, I can't get there on Trump, I'm going to vote for Hillary.
Then you're going to vote for Hillary.
But that's it.
And those are your choices, and that's fine, and make those choices. Right. And that's what a lot of people have been in denial up to this point. I will say, and I've been saying it for a couple months now, things are going to change, Mike, when Republican voters, maybe not the 12 people in the Stop Trump, Never Trump group on Twitter, but when the rest of the Republican Party looks at their ballot, at least conservatives, and they're going to say, okay, I can take another Clinton for 8 years and have 3 of her appointees on the Supreme Court, change the tide of the Supreme Court for a generation, or I can take a chance on this guy, kind of like people did with Ronald Reagan in 1980. I don't think it's going to be that tough for most Republicans by the end.
Well, it's also, you know, a choice between old and new. No matter what you think. Hillary Clinton's a vastly qualified candidate for the presidency. There's no doubt about that. But it's the past. Mm-hmm. And so Donald Trump is Donald Trump. The interesting thing about what we just showed, those clips, were you surprised at the Huntsman endorsement, or it wasn't an endorsement, but explanation?
Yeah.
I was surprised by it.
Well,
is he casting about? Would he take the number 2 spot on the ticket?
I don't know. But I was positive, and I think a lot of I tell you, even if Republicans aren't saying that, that's what Obama's people are saying. That's what David Plouffe is saying. That's what David Axelrod is saying. Every Obama person that masterminded that extraordinary campaign in 2008, they're all saying the same thing. Democrats, you don't want Donald Trump. You think you want Donald Trump, you don't want Donald Trump. While we Republicans are gnashing our teeth saying he's going to destroy the party, the Republican tear down Abraham Lincoln's memorial brick by brick.
Still ahead on Morning Joe, what does Bernie Sanders mean when he says the Democratic contest will be contested?
83. That is 65% of the remaining pledged delegates. That is admittedly, and I do not deny it for a second, a tough road to climb, but it is not an impossible road to climb.
Sanders' comments came the same day his campaign reported a 40% decline in fundraising for April to just under $26 million from $46 million the month before. Last week, Sanders revealed he would be laying off some 255 campaign workers.
So we're talking around the table, what's he doing here? I mean, I guess there's an Indiana poll that shows that race is pretty close, right, Harold?
I think it shows Hillary Clinton with about a 4-point lead.
Yeah, 4-point lead, so that's tight. And he is right about the superdelegates, and it would take something, though, Nicole, like an FBI ruling. And who knows, maybe that's what he's waiting for, because that obviously would switch all the superdelegates in his favor and give him the nomination if that didn't go the way the Clintons wanted it to go.
But he doesn't have to stay in and keep kicking her to do that. I mean, he has the delegates. He could step aside. I mean, what is happening is what the Clinton folks say is happening. Trump is telegraphing the Sanders attacks on her in a obvious and public way. And Trump is publicly courting his voters because he has kept them frothy and angry and convinced that she's both unqualified and unethical. So he can no longer make the case that he isn't doing her harm. And certainly it's his prerogative to stay in and to hope against hope that something like that happens. But if something were to happen to her, his options are still open.
Wow. Why is the FBI investigation taking so long? This is a clear
they put it away.
It's a clear mishandling of classified information.
Or it's not.
Well, no, it is. It is whether you bring an indictment against Hillary Clinton or those around her, it is a clear mishandling of classified information. It doesn't take this long. Why is the FBI dragging their feet? What political reason? What is their political motivation for dragging their feet?
Well, it depends on who you talk to in Washington about why it's taking so long. Some say it's just the unnerving bureaucracy within the Justice Department and the FBI.
And the State Department for a while, too.
It took such an extended period of time for the State Department to get sort of everything they needed to get to justice. And then there is the theory that, they're waiting for something horrific to happen on a Friday afternoon that has nothing to do with this, and then they release what they release for the weekend. I have not spoken to anyone who believes there is an indictable offense that has occurred, and that is going to be the result of the investigation. But to the extent, the time-consuming extent of...
All I can say is you're talking to a very tightly focused crowd there.
Well, not really.
Yeah.
Not really. There's a couple of people I've spoken to who, think that there should be sort of a Petraeus ruling on it at a minimum.
Yeah. No, I mean, you talk to people in the intel community, and they say anybody else would be in prison right now. If they mishandled classified, talk to anybody in the intelligence community that's been doing this for 20 years, they will all say if anybody mishandled classified information that way, they would be in jail right now.
Well, it's not even this. It's the
lost his job.
And it's the operationalizing of it, right? It's the setting up the server to send and receive.
Yeah. Well, and putting yourself in it, not to replay this all the time, but again, come on, FBI, wake up. I mean, the fact of the matter is that she set it up so everybody, her subordinates, everybody else had to send classified information through an unsecured server. That would be like if I were the director of the CIA and I set my office up in a burger shack down the street and said, hey, you got to bring the documents here, just leave them all in this file. It is the same thing.
And why,
it is the same thing.
And why would you do that? Why? What would be the reason
He likes
to
burgers?
do that?
I love burgers. I don't like them. I would do it because I'm paranoid and I don't want anybody inside the agency to have any access to anything because I'm going to run for president someday.
That's it.
Which is what she did. She put her own political needs in front of classified information. So again, is it an indictable offense? A lot of people in the intel community think it is, but I don't think she's going to be indicted. I think they're going to let her skate. They might indict somebody below that, but just get it done. Like seriously, let the Democrats know for sure that they have Hillary Clinton as their nominee or not. Make your decision already. There's a
Well, like, what could be the
reason.
thing making them sit there going, I really have to think about this? I mean, it either is or it isn't, right?
You get the statutes.
What?
The statutes are straightforward.
Is
They're
it-
trying to move the
Am I
statutes
oversimplifying?
around. No, not at this
I mean,
point.
what-
They've had it long enough.
Something's either... Okay.
They've had it long enough. And if I'm in the Clinton camp,
They know what they're going to do.
right, if I'm in the Clinton camp, I'm like, make a decision already.
Yeah. Coming up on Morning Joe.
You know who I feel the worst for? I feel the worst for Donald's supporters who believe his role. But every day, if he gets closer to the nomination, he starts taking his mask off. And behind the Donald Trump mask is Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, what's behind that mask?
No!
Says Donald
Yeah,
Trump.
I wasn't going to
is going
say
to
it. That's
change,
not nice.
But we're saying big delegates about determined in the New York Times.
Just look at the confusion over the invitations to tonight's dinner. Guests were asked to check whether they wanted steak or fish, but instead, a whole bunch of you wrote in Paul Ryan. That's not an option, people. Steak or fish. You may not like steak or fish, but that's your choice.
Heidi Cruz, nice woman, said, my husband, you heard about this, right? Said this morning, my husband's an immigrant, right? Is an immigrant. And that's what I've been saying. Except a lot of people, I think she was trying to say, she was trying to put the little bit of a Latin turn on it. He was born in Canada, folks. He was born in Canada.
Oh, my gosh. 33, 34 past the
He's
hour.
born in Canada. I said he's a comedian. He's like in the Catskills.
He really is.
For
We're
1
back
week
with
only.
Mike
It's
Marticle,
unbelievable.
NBC political analyst Elise Jordan, and during the table, New York Times political reporter Alex Burns, also with us from Capitol Hill. New York Times reporter Jeremy Peters. And Jeremy, you write today's front page piece for the Times about Ted Cruz's support apparently softening among the delegates he courted.
Now was this
I
after?
can't believe it.
No, I
They
mean,
love him.
Are there second thoughts? And I'm serious. After he got pounded in New York and Pennsylvania, a lot of the other states.
Well, I mean, what's happened is that his strategy with the delegates was always built around a premise that was pretty difficult, and that is getting to a second ballot at the convention. And as Ted Cruz has tanked in state after state, what's happened with delegates is what's happened with the average voter. They're just they like to be behind a winner, and right now Ted Cruz is not winning. And even though his campaign always talked up the strength of their delegate operation, what we found when we scratched the surface a little bit is that it wasn't all it was cracked up to be. And his support, especially in places that are critical to his strategy, like North Dakota, which has the unbound delegates, that support is softening.
And Alex, I think we talked about this on the phone a couple weeks ago. As somebody gets closer to the nomination, you can just forget everything the entire party apparatus says. They all want jobs. They all want influence. They all want appointments. They all get in line, and it doesn't matter who it is.
Well, and the delegates want to go to the cool parties, and they want the right floor passes. And I think what's so important about Jeremy's story is it really does undercut this whole idea that the Cruz people have pushed for weeks and months that they were going to be able to win the nomination primarily due to their own technical and operational prowess, right? That even if we don't have a majority of voters, even if we don't have a majority of delegates, we're so clever at working the rules. And meanwhile, Trump has had this old-fashioned idea that you make your case to the public and win over voters, and then you win the nomination accordingly. I think we've seen which of those strategies is more powerful, even among the people who have committed to Cruz. It stands to reason, really, and it's one of these things that once it's out there, once it's been reported, it seems kind of obvious, but nobody was saying a week ago that, well, maybe Cruz's delegate operation isn't enough.
Yeah, I mean, if all things are equal, then yes, having the delegate operation, having the turnout gain, that, having the sharpshooter is great. But if you're running against somebody that has a fleet of B-52s and just carpet bombing on the ground, it just doesn't matter.
Well, and this is what I've heard for the past couple of weeks about Cruz's delegate operation, that the delegates they've recruited aren't necessarily going to stick around for multiple votes at a contested convention, that they aren't that loyal. And so I think that's what Jeremy really kind of nails the problems of the operation.
We're going to come over here and talk to Jason. Jason, you're not from Indiana. You're from Missouri. In fact, you're a delegate there.
For Jefferson County in Hot Springs, Missouri.
But you've tried to go to a number of rallies and haven't been able to get in, so this is your shot.
Yes, it is.
And why is it so important to you to get to one of these rallies and talk about some of the issues as a delegate you've had?
Well, I just thought that it was my chance to do so, and it's pretty unfair how the Missouri voted for Cruz. Or for Trump, I should say.
They voted for Trump, but the delegate behind the scenes...
The delegate selection managed to go for Cruz. We were overrun by the largest county in our district. We basically got voted out because of that. They brought 79 Cruz supporters with them. That's their delegate count. Actually, they didn't have them all. They had alternatives to fill them in. Yeah. And, of course, everything we voted on, they voted against us. And so basically what they ended up with was an all-Cruz slate for Missouri, even though Missouri voted strictly for Trump. Yeah. And especially in Delegate 3, we were 100% for Trump. Every county in Trump didn't go for Trump in Missouri, but our county did. And now our county is sending a Cruz supporter to the convention, which we won't have to worry about because we'll easily hit 1237. Indiana's going to win in a landslide.
Again, page 1 today in the Times above the fold, always good, buddy, that it's just an outline of human nature. Unbound delegates. I mean, oh yeah, I liked Ted Cruz a month ago, but now they're looking at who is in the winner's circle, Donald Trump. Human nature would dictate that a certain percentage of them are going to say, I'm going to go with the winner.
Well, Mike, this is also part of a larger problem with the Never Trump movement. It was Never Trump, and then what? This guy who no Republicans really have all that much affection for? The Never Trump movement was going to be successful. It needed a candidate to rally around, and that guy is just not Ted Cruz.
Are we all pretty sure? I mean, is it looking more and more party insiders that everybody talks to that Trump makes the 1237 now?
I think if in 36 hours from now, if he has won Indiana, I think you're going to see really the back of the resistance really break. That there's this sense that, it's not even just about the delegate math in Indiana, that unless Cruz wins Indiana, it's just awfully hard to see him getting the momentum and just sort of the extended look from voters that it would take in order to make it all the way to California.
Well, there's just been so much denial among Republicans for so long about the inevitability of Trump's nomination. And it's just, we've been told to suspend plausibility for so long that, this could happen and this will deny him. This contested convention idea.
It's a hard turn.
And now it's coming down to simple math and the denial. There's not enough room to deny it.
If you've been on Twitter over the past couple months, literally, there were times where every third tweet on my feed, which I follow like 400 sort of influential people, was why Trump wasn't going to do it, and Trump's failings, and what Trump said on the Howard Stern show, and what Trump said, this fact checker said that Trump's lying about this. Trump said that in 2000. I mean, it was constant, it was nonstop, and it is hard to move that ocean liner, isn't it? To suddenly go, okay, I guess we have to get behind him.
Yeah,
or else Hillary wins.
And it goes to sort of the underlying dynamic of this entire race, which is that Trump gets one or two really big things about the cycle right, and everybody else gets a lot of little things about him right? That they sort of pick away at him in these, death by 1,000 cuts way, and he is going at them with, a hydrogen bomb. And, I think we've seen now which one of those is the more effective way to
I'm curious what you think. What are the one or two things that Trump gets right about the voters that the Republican establishment establishment so badly missed?
I think that they don't really care about credentials, and in fact, the credentials are maybe even a turnoff for voters at this point. That they admire strength more than anything else. That any deviations on policy, any personal failings or character problems, that all of them, at least for Republican primary voters, are offset by the perception of just being a strong, tough person.
All right, Jeremy Peters, thank you very much. Good to have you on the show. Congratulations.
Thank you.
On page one. U.S. cruise ship is sailing into Cuba for the first time in decades. It's one of the biggest commercial steps since last summer when the U.S. and communist Cuba reestablished diplomatic relations. And the only television journalist reporting live from on board?
Of course.
Of course.
Of course, there he is.
Is NBC's Kerry Sanders. Kerry.
Good morning, guys. Look, this is really not only historic, but it's kind of like a giddy moment. That's Havana right there. We're pulling in to the port of Havana. As you noted, it's been more than 50 years since a U.S. cruise ship has done this. Think about it. The two countries that were so far apart that have now recently come together, allowing a U.S. cruise ship to pull into the port here. You see lots of folks over here, Americans who in a little bit will get a chance to step onto Cuban soil, a country that for many, they say, is frozen in time.
This morning, history is being made as this cruise ship becomes the first in more than a half century to sail from Miami to Havana. Just 262 miles, but until now, it might as well have been light years. It's the maiden voyage to Cuba of Fathom Zidonia, a ship owned by Carnival Corporation.
We're going to be right at the heart of the city, just a few minutes walk from downtown.
American passengers about to step onto Cuban soil, a country that most U.S. citizens have been forbidden to visit since 1963.
We wanted to be part of history. It's just a really exciting thing. It's an honor.
The Cuba they will see has many Americans anxious to get here before it all changes.
I want to get there before Burger King shows up.
Before Burger King shows up.
The voyage almost didn't happen. An old Cuban law still on the books banned anyone born on the island from coming in by sea. Cuban Americans in Miami protested, and the law changed, which is why Ana Garcia, who left Havana when she was 6, is today among a dozen Cuban-born Americans able to take this trip.
I've been waiting 48 years, 8 days and 8 hours. I left on April 24th, 1968. So I've been waiting for a long time, and it still seems absolutely surreal. Excuse me.
Cruising to Cuba comes with restrictions. Passengers can't go to the beach and drink mojitos. With the embargo still in effect, passengers technically are not tourists. They're on an educational or cultural visit.
It's all very new. It's all, it's all happening so quickly, but it's cool to see.
One ship, 700 passengers, but a sign perhaps of more to come.
I've met very few Americans who aren't curious about and really want to go and visit Cuba and experience the culture and the people there. So we see lots of pent-up demand.
The cruise ship Adonia will be making this trip from Miami to Havana and to 2 other ports in Cuba once every... That was well timed.
We're seeing Kerry. We know your rap was awesome.
Now.
Yeah, all right. Thank you so much, Kerry Sanders. What a great way to wrap it. More Morning Joe after this great break. Oh my God, look at this. All right, let's sing it, everybody. Happy birthday to... Hey, let's try this again. Sing. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mika. All right. All right, come on in, Bill Cairns. You ruined her birthday weekend with your crappy weather forecast. All right, time to talk about what we learned today. What did you learn, Elise?
Happy birthday, Mika. Thank
Okay,
you.
Mike Barnacle, what did you learn?
I learned that the people of Havana are going to wish the Carnival Cruise Line.
Oh my God.
So funny.
Alex, what did you learn today?
It's really good to have parents with message discipline.
Oh, I know.
They really did.
That's a first.
Forget about Rick Stengel. You guys share a birthday, so happy birthday to Rick Stengel and Mika.
Jesse.
Jesse Rodriguez.
Jesse Rodriguez.
Is Jesse here? Jesse, happy birthday. Come out and eat this cake, man. What are you doing? One. And tomorrow, Willie Guys.
Yeah.
Week of 1,000 birthdays. Willie Guys.
That does it for us. Thank you, everybody.
Great. Thank you, guys.
Keep going out to fix up the coverage right after a break.
All right.
Oh, right now.
Well, right now. We take you report.